still in the early areas with bone collection. Currently, I like it. I think it's been pretty solid so far, especially for the first few chapters. We've gotten a good amount of information of each of the characters, though in some ways not the best with Kazami's weird older brother. But we got some information on like the plot. We know how like Kazami's powers work. We know why he's the female lead is grouped up with him. We know her goals and her wants. With the pacing, though, I am curious to know like where the series would eventually kind of lean towards. What would the kind of like setup be kind of like moving around? Because there was a part in the chapter near the end where you see some of Pyra's hair turning black, and it's like it's about like her losing her power and slowly like getting towards her want to be human. I would be, like I said, I'm curious to know like, would the series, if it does well and it's able to get past that kind of axe mark that a lot of you got to get beyond for the Shonen Jump series to survive, but where that is, it's like if it gets past that, then how long will it kind of live on if she ends up like if it's already showing signs of progress towards her being able to get towards her goal of being a human? What does that mean for like the length of the series, and like what would the plot be if it's like gets to that much earlier? What would happen beyond that? Would Kazami end up turning into like the yokai like they talked about, like with how yokai spell works and stuff? And just some curious things about looking at the higher end of the series. But as it were, like Kazami ends up going to school, just tries to have a social life for a bit, but immediately after Pyra shows up, she is now like trying to, she's pretty much infiltrated the setup of the school, and she's gotten Kazami's brother to pretty much just bribe the principal to have her as a member, and having it like he's she is the daughter of Kazami's older brother, so like his niece, but Reno is aware. They talked about how like in the previous day that she said that she was Kazami's fiance. So there's some like much more personal stuff going on, and I was curious to think of like what exactly is that going to be for Reno, because I think it's one of those characters you assume is going to be like the love rival for the female lead, kind of like in that position. It would be like the question though of whether or not she's like set up before that, or if she'll end up becoming that. But it looks like beforehand, and I think her character already is kind of interesting when you look at the whole setup of the way that she kind of like is the mirrored kind of like a end of Kazami, because he's from a prestigious family. He's only an exorcist because of his family links, and he's only really good at one type of spell, but it's the one that's forbidden that they're not supposed to use. Whereas Reno comes from just like a normal family. She's able to become an exorcist due to hard work and efforts and whatnot. And I'm guessing from this chapter, when we find out some stuff about her, that the reason she's interested and like seems to like have a thing for Kazami is that he's really good at something she can't do. Because, when we see Pyra and her kind of show up, there's clearly some form of kind of like superiority complex between what she's got and seems to be with Pyra. She's like jumping up and down, like trying just to be taller than her so she can look down on her. And they're just kind of like have some quick scuffle that immediately turns into like an actual fight. And they're going to end up just kind of like having a skirmish like in the quad of the school in the courtyard, and it's not actually her. It's not actually Pyra, because we know that Pyra is way too strong for Reno to combat. Because she like had trouble with currently in the last chapter, I think it was a B class yokai at her current level, and we know with Pyra she's like triple S class, so she's like as high as it gets. Like the only thing probably for her is like she's not like a fully matured one, but she still should be way too strong for her. But it turns out it's not like an actual her, it's like a decoy, and you see like Kazami used his power to used one of her bones, and has like essentially like a Nintendo Switch, and has like a copy of her that they're using to control to get in the fight. And Reno's like using her powers, like using just like what she can to try and bind her. I really like this panel, even though it wasn't like a really big panel, just be, or the one that I'm using for for the video, the one with all the talismans around it, because I just think that was a really cool like way to have like a serious moment, like when you have this exorcist who uses these talismans for different things, that to have them all just kind of like floating and rotating around her as she's like getting ready to use some of her like her bigger abilities. I thought that was really neat. But while controlling the fake one, you have them accidentally like kind of like while fighting over the controller, the Pyra decoy has her head like turn around, and Reno's like saying like, assuming it's like a spell, some weird like, I don't even know what she would consider this kind of spell, like the ability to turn your neck like 180 degrees around. But she's saying how she's never seen such kind of, she's never seen a spell like that. She's never heard of it, and she can't do something like that. And that seems to be what defeats her. It's not like lands a big hit and she's knocked out cold. It's more of like it seems to be more of like a kind of like a panic attack of something that she can't do. And I'm guessing that's going to be the thing with her character, is with her like whole hard work and effort to get to where she's at, that it's more of like anything she can't do seems to really kind of just like bother her and like rattle her down to her core and stuff. And I think that's really telling for a character already, like only 3 chapters in. That is one thing I will give credit for Bone Collection for sure within the first 3 chapters, as you're able to get a pretty good understanding about some of the cores for each of the characters and why, some of their like inspiration and what drives them. We know like with Kazami, we know his backstory of why like he's kind of like in a bad spot with his family and his powers and whatnot, and like his whole position as an exorcist, as well as like what why he's so good at them, and like why he's good at this yokai spell, and like his outlook on the differences between like the humans and the yokais and stuff. We know about Pyra and her whole want to kind of live a more normal life, and how like being so strong has caused her to always just live in this kind of like life of combat. And we know of, at least from this, there's like breadcrumbs and hints towards what Reno, what kind of like drives her, and what's going to be like an issue for her in the future if she has this superiority complex that I think is present. But we'll see more of it in the future. There's like a little flash at the end going like taking the camera spot and going over to the Exorcist headquarters. And there's some higher up saying like, an A-ranked yokai just kind of like showed up and vanished out of nowhere. We think it was this guy who did it. We think he used the yokai spell. So we want you to get confirmation he's done it, and if so, pretty much just take him out. Like if so, like kill him. And this dude, like what's his name, Akifuyu Abe, and during like near the end, you have Kazami put up in a group mission with Reno, so I think Reno will see more of like her thing in the next couple chapters, get more of like her backstory and more of hints towards, like I said, this power and superiority complex that I think she's in there for. But also Pyra saying how she's heard the name of this Akifuyu guy, and that I think will give maybe some important information to this dude in the next chapter, of just kind of like laying out what we're in store for. He seems to have a little interesting design for what we saw. He's got like this kind of, I'm just looking at it like he's got like a weird v-neck or a gi or something on. He's got like some sunglasses, like a weird haircut. So, getting into some normal anime kind of setup. I'm hoping that this leads towards maybe hints at like a larger picture of plot, because right now we're only 3 chapters in. We don't know where the story of this series is going to really go outside of just like the base stuff of Pyra wanting to become human and stuff and whatnot. But other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter, about this series so far. I like it as of right now. Like, it's 3 chapters in. I think it's at a pretty solid beginning. But we'll see. We'll see how things kind of like all unfold. But other than that, I'd really appreciate a comment below. Tell me your thoughts are about this series so far. And if you really appreciate it, if you thumbs up the video, put the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But other than that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. Thank you all for listening. Bye.